Bodywork. This is driving, you can tell it's driving me nuts. I got it. Okay, put it down. Okay, I'm gonna put it down. There we go. The next is the, what you call it, the rear end. Welcome back to the workbench where we try to make things. What we're continuing to try to make right now is Revell's Ford FD-100 pickup from Foose Designs, originally from Foose Designs, but we're doing things a little different. We're gonna put this kit on airbags. So what we've been working on is notching the rear frame rails and pretty well have it done now. Outside of paint. We're done outside of paint. But to get here, I did take a couple more pictures just to show the process along the way. And basically, I just needed to add these braces in between, which I ended up just using some sprue off of an old kit I had. You know what? Let me zoom in a little bit so maybe you guys can see a little better. There we go. I had some sprue from an old kit. Cut those down to size. Actually, I didn't cut them down to size. The gap between here is actually 29 millimeters. I cut these to 30 or 3 centimeters or 30 millimeters, and then held them flat on the mat here, and then started sanding them down. So I wanted to make sure these two braces, cross members, bars, whatever, were exactly 29 millimeters and exactly the same length. So I sanded them down together, if that makes sense, keeping them flat on the, in other words, standing up this way, both of them standing up this way like, well, I guess I'll do this where you can see, huh? Standing up this way like so, and then sanding them down. And I took the 1 millimeter off of them to make sure that they were exactly the same size, which they ended up being. And then we could glue in between the two frame rails. Then it was just a matter of doing the body work. So I used some body filler to fill the gaps, mainly filling the underside. As you can see here, what was most important to me was getting, this is going to be the more visible side. It probably needs a little bit more, well, I don't know what. Actually, we're real close. I can see right now I need to give it just a little bit more work underneath here. But what's most important to me is getting the underside clean, because that's mainly what we're going to see. I went ahead and did the top side also, just in case we end up leaving that showing through the bed. I think we're going to tunnel the bed. But in case we let that show, I was body working the top side also. And then basically I just use sanding sticks. I also have a file that I've been using because it's a little hard to actually get in here. And this file stays nice and stiff. Obviously it's metal, and I can lay it across both frame rails or both notches. And so sand them at the same time, which I guess in my theory is giving us, let me back out just a little bit. Definitely hit that too much. There we go. It should give us the same angles, the same, you know, we're kind of sanding them at the same time like so. That should pretty close to give us, and I'm trying to give equal pressure on both. That should hopefully equal the same notches, or at least really darn close, you know, close enough for the girls we date, right? So this should be pretty good. Yeah, and then so now I just need to give it another, what I'll do, I guess I should have mentioned, I did give it a coat of paint just so I could kind of see where the imperfections were. It makes it so much easier, especially gray. I'll give it a gray, I usually spray things with gray primer, and then you can really see the imperfections that you're dealing with when you start doing your body work. So what I'll do is I'll give it another coat and then see if we've got it all pretty cleaned up. I mean, you can use your fingers, you can use your eyes, but until you give it that mono flat color across it, right? It's sometimes it's a little hard to tell. But anyways, I think that's pretty well got our notches done. If we need to add bars in here, we can do that. I need to give some kind of color back here so you guys can see a little better. I think that'll probably help. If I need to add bars in between here when we start putting the airbags in, I can do that in the future. Like this isn't getting painted till it's completely finished with body color or whatever color we're going to paint it. I'm thinking the idea is to make this a show car. So this will probably get painted body color, whatever that is. We haven't decided on a body color, by the way. If you have an opinion or a color you'd like to see this truck, be sure and leave it down in the comment section. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear. I'd like to do something nice. You know what I mean? Like if some kind of pearl or flake or whatever. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Man, I can still see where I need to work. I can always come back and see, oh, it needs a little bit more work on the body. Yeah, right here definitely needs work. Of course, I will finish this off camera. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me body work this or sand this stuff. But yeah, the only thing now, or where I'm going to go now, but after once I have this all bodywork, this is driving, you can tell it's driving me nuts. I got it. Okay, put it down. Okay, I'm going to put it down. There we go. The next is the, the rear end. And I think what we'll do is use the four links, because the way the four links work is they mount right here, obviously, into this kind of notch. And then that's going to locate, it's going to be the easy way to locate our rear end, right? I mean, it's going to locate it for us. I think it goes, I'm not sure if it mounts inside or outside of that. I guess inside. Yeah, I think it goes right like that. But that's going to locate the rear end for us. See how it centers it for us? And we don't have to do anything custom, I guess, or whatever, however you want to say it. So we'll probably go ahead and use the four link. But on the rear end, what we don't need is these outboard. So they have these, these kind of outboard coilovers. And you can see how they dropped this rear end was dropped is they sent them way down like so, which is not what we're going to be doing. Our bags are going to be on top of the rear end. That's why we had to make the notch, because this used to sit down here. Anyway, so we don't need these guys. So you know what? Let's while we're here, let's just go ahead and nip them off very carefully. One, who knows where that went, and the other one. And then what I'll do is I'll sand all that down. Actually, boy, those were hollow. Can you see those were hollow there? So I'm gonna have to fill those. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fill that. But I've got to clean up this whole rear end now. Get the seam out of it anyways. So this is just one more thing. I'll finish sanding all that off, what used to be that mount, because we're gonna have to add our own cups here. We're gonna have our own cups here and up here, wherever those are gonna go and however those are gonna actually attach up here to hold our airbags. And then we'll use this four link setup, I think, just to locate the rear end, like I was saying. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to do it. Will we also need, kind of thinking out loud right now while I try to figure out how this goes back in. It goes this way, correct? Yeah, this way. I mean, is the four links all we need? I guess with the four, should we put I don't know, I'll have to look and see. Will we need another bar? Another bar to better, because the four links located, we're calling this a four link. It's kind of it's almost just kind of like ladder bars. I don't know what you would call these. So we might need a bar to locate it side to side. In other words, when this truck's running down the road, these bars here, locate it up and down and forward and back. But we might need a bar here. Let me see if I can so we might need a bar, here, something here to locate it, keep it from traveling this way, is my feeling, right? And that what we would need. I'm going to look into how these setups kind of are. Did this one have something like that? Let me look. Let's pull out the instructions, see what they kind of had going on. So we had these. Can you guys see? So we've got these bars here. Well, we had the shocks, but nothing really does that I can see. Yeah, they just had it floating on this kind of, I guess you call it a four link setup. I don't know what you call it. Or maybe we'll do our own. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I need to get back to work on this so we have something to see next time. Let me know how you would set up this rear suspension. I mean, I guess I can just do it the way it came. Maybe add a bar. Should I add a bar? Let me know. I'm not the expert on this stuff. Let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this build. I think it's been a lot of fun for me. I'm enjoying doing kind of custom stuff. I haven't done anything really custom like this in quite a while, so it's kind of fun. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button. Hype button? Is the hype button there? I wish somebody would let me know. Somebody let me know. Is there a hype button down there? Subscribe. Do all those things everybody tells you to do on YouTube. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.